Breaking news. I answer the question of who will win the WWE's Royal Rumble 2023. As best I can before it officially happens. The favourites for next year's Royal Rumble have been revealed, and I've been tracking the betting data so that you don't have to. You have a nap after this video, you've earned it. The list of favourites this year feature a lot of people who aren't even in the WWE right now, including people returning from injury and, of course, some big name movie stars whose name you may have heard somewhere along the grapevine. This also means that we can't always put too much focus on storyline, because right now, if the wrestlers aren't on TV, how are we supposed to track the teases? How, WWE? We're going to go through the top candidates, starting with the Women's Royal Rumble, looking at what's going on in the WWE and just how likely we are going to have them throwing 29 other people over the top rope, collapsing in joy and tears, and then pointing at a massive on fire WrestleMania sign. Hit like and let's talk Rumble. Just outside of the three favourite women for the Royal Rumble, we have Bayley representing Damage Control. Now, Bayley is historically a late entrant to Royal Rumbles, but she's been in a lot of them, and usually lasts until very late in the day. She has been in the Final Four multiple times. Bayley has been competing directly with current Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair, so while Bayley is listed as fourth for this one, I can't say that it seems likely. Bayley does have another championship shot coming up, but at this point either she wins the championship and goes on to face Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, or she moves on and walks away from any championship gold for a long time. That's okay though. Damage Control are currently the women's tag team champions. Damage Control, using a New Day style Freebird, or Freebird style Freebird rule, would be able to represent those championships well, and that would really bring those championships back to the forefront, especially with so many more tag teams in use right now. That said, when it comes to those championships, I'm pretty sure Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler may have something to say about it. Also Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox. Maybe Sasha Banks and Naomi. We haven't seen much from the Queen recently, and she is third in the list for the Women's Royal Rumble. This is largely down to two things. Firstly, this time last year, Ronda Rousey was on her way back to take her chance at Charlotte Flair. This would be essentially Charlotte Flair's revenge, though that is more of a face story than a heel story. On the other side, though, there are heavy rumours that Charlotte Flair will have Bianca Belair in her sights for WrestleMania. After all, Bianca Belair has dominated and defeated all of the other four horsewomen. This is built largely on a big crossover plan that's being rumoured, and that would basically bring in the draft after WrestleMania. It would also feature Ronda Rousey defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Becky Lynch. One way or another, we would be getting some big draft trades there. The Queen is due back. Her time off was initially just due to her impending marriage, but that was many moons ago and she's still not been seen since. At the same time, a lot of people have started to miss her. If you're one of those people, comment and let me know. Next up, brutality. Rhea Ripley has spent most of her main roster career thus far alongside the Judgment Day faction. Edge, for a time, Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Now, of course, Dominic Mysterio. She is his mummy. I get it. Come WrestleMania, she'll have essentially spent a year in that faction. What she hasn't done is spend a lot of time in ring wrestling, actually fighting, though she has bodied Luke Gallows on several occasions. That said, since her feud with Charlotte Flair firmly established her last year, Rhea Ripley has clearly been a favourite of the company, both in terms of creative, production and management. The change from Vince McMahon to Triple H only helped her cause. While she hasn't necessarily been involved in major storylines, a background push is never a negative thing, and actively being second favourite for the Women's Royal Rumble is nothing to turn your nose up at. Ripley versus Belair is actively being teased already. Having Rhea involved in War Games added a lot of overall star power to the match, really showing what she can deliver. Ripley versus Belair was supposed to happen earlier this year, and it was always something that the WWE wanted to return to. Royal Rumble win or not, I could definitely see Ripley getting the big chance at the championship come WrestleMania. Our number one when it comes to Women's Royal Rumble favourites is number one by a massive distance. It's the man, Becky Lynch, and really, if you're watching WWE at the moment, this should not be a surprise to you. Lynch and Belair have one of the strongest stories on Raw, and a strong history as well, including SummerSlams and WrestleManias. On the other side though, who do we have? Ronda Rousey. For almost a year now, the WWE have been sitting on a WrestleMania main event in the making for one or both of the WWE Women's Championship belts. Let's just say one this time, and we'll have a few more belts in translation, shall we? Becky Lynch is not just the favourite, she's the obvious choice. Very little works against this. Even if the plan is Bayley versus Becky, a matchup that's also being teased as we speak, Bayley has a championship opportunity coming up. All roads point to Becky Lynch. Moving over to the men's side, the overall field of contenders is much closer and there are some very powerful names involved. The runner-up outside of the top three is Seth Rollins. For me, this seems like one of the least likely contenders. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins do have plenty of history, both in the Shield and in terms of Royal Rumbles. This time last year, we were watching Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins at the Royal Rumble, with Seth Rollins not beaten, but definitely beaten down. As the only person not to be defeated by Roman Reigns, Seth will always be a contender, and having just turned face, there is definitely the story and the background for it. However, at this point in time, I do feel there are much more likely contenders. In third place when it comes to Royal Rumble men's favourites, well, I'd tell you his name, but it doesn't matter what his name is. I'll tell you his name, obviously. It's The Rock. Surprisingly, here he's only third when you consider the amount of groundswell around this. The report from the Wrestling Observer, after several other years of reporting that The Rock would be facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, has caught a lot of attention, caught a lot of fire, and made a lot of people gamble what I feel will be gambling away their money. When it comes to the Royal Rumble, it should be about creating new stars, and while The Rock is believed to be available, having him come in and win the Royal Rumble certainly would step on a lot of toes. That said, if you want to get to The Rock versus Roman Reigns, this is a way to do it. If we do have The Rock versus Roman Reigns, my personal preference is to have The Rock cover 2 nights. The main event of the first night would be against the Royal Rumble winner for the WWE Championship. The main event of the second night would be against The Rock for the Universal Championship, but he would retain that one. Also, you could always flip him and have him lose on night 2 to number 2 or number 1 in this list. Number 2, and a close second at that, particularly if you're following current storylines for the WWE, is Sami Zayn, and what a rise it's been for Sami. Potential Royal Rumble winner, potential WrestleMania main eventer next year after facing off with Johnny Knoxville in the first part of this year. What a rise it's been. Sami Zayn's story with the Bloodline has been incredibly powerful and has really caught a lot of attention. It is, at least in my mind, the best story in wrestling right now, not just for Sami and Roman, but also for the use of Jay, for the way that it's established Solo Sikoa, and for the way that it's made Jimmy Uso just seem calm, background, and pretty chill by comparison. It's also dragged in Kevin Owens, not necessarily kicking and screaming, but certainly there aren't agreements there. That said, I don't see this one being that likely on the basis of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn challenging for the undisputed tag team championships at WrestleMania against the Usos. The storyline is there with Sami and Roman, but it is much stronger with Sami and Jay. And I can see a WrestleMania moment where Sami Zayn vanquishes Jey Uso to win a tag team championship with his best friend, Kevin Owens. Before, several months from now, another Festival of Friendship where Kevin Owens destroys Sami Zayn and Sami realises he hasn't actually learned anything. Finally, we have our favourite, and while it's not an overwhelming favourite as it is on the woman's side, it's still a very clear-cut favourite. Cody Rhodes has been the favourite to win the Royal Rumble and challenge against Roman Reigns since leaving the WWE due to injury after Hell in a Cell, and that has not changed for a single second since. This storyline makes perfect sense. Cody Rhodes returning, winning the Royal Rumble, and challenging for the WWE Championship, not necessarily the Universal Championship, but going after a championship that he spoke about the night after this year's WrestleMania, when he spoke about his father never winning the WWE Championship and what that would mean to him personally. For me, Becky Lynch and Cody Rhodes will be the winners of the upcoming Royal Rumble 2023. There'll be plenty more Royal Rumble coverage coming soon. If you want more videos like this, by all means check out anything we covered for Survivor Series, or check out the Vince McMahon investigative video that's on your screen right now. See you soon.